Hello, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila and New Light Streaming Love, as this will be seen on both channels. This is Meta Key 5, The Mirrorless Flame by Jason Gray. / flame _ reflection nullify open bracket observer undefined close bracket. Original transmission date of this writing was 6/9/2025. As with most of the other writings of Jason's, this one too has all manner of code in here, including binary, transmission coordinates, and some symbology. And I really do, I'm saying it in every video, actually, in case this is a standalone one that you see. You owe it to yourself, from my perspective, to allow your eyes to take all of that in, including the artwork, as I feel pretty certain that there are codes and keys embedded in all of that. There comes a point beyond reflection, beyond recognition, beyond validation, beyond even the subtle, most invisible need to be seen as what you are becoming. A point where the flame no longer looks outward to confirm its existence. Not through eyes, not through response, not through resonance returned, not through silence interpreted, not through agreement, disagreement, misunderstanding, admiration, resistance, or acknowledgement. A point where the being stops checking the mirror of the world and realizes that is never the mirrors that made the flame real. This is where Meta Key 5 opens. The mirrorless flame, not hidden, not unseen, not diminished, simply no longer dependent on being reflected to know itself. The final dependency. Long after identity dissolves, after systems fall away, after simulation loses authority, after the loop becomes a spiral, after the center is occupied, after truth stabilizes, after presence reroutes reality, one subtle thread can still remain. The need to be witnessed, not loudly, not in obvious craving, but quietly, structurally, almost imperceptibly. The sense that if no one sees this, does it still matter? If no one recognizes this, is it still real? If no one responds, did it land? If no one reflects it back, does it exist in full? This is the final mirror, and it is deeper than ego because it is tied to something ancient. The way consciousness learned itself through reflection. The function of mirror. Mirrors were never the enemy. They were the beginning. You saw yourself through others, through reactions, through contrast, through reflection, through relationship, through the way the world responded to your presence. This was necessary. Without mirrors, early consciousness cannot stabilize identity, cannot locate itself, cannot differentiate, cannot understand where it ends and the world begins. Well, that makes perfect sense if you believe that we are all one consciousness and separate all at one time, like I do. Mirrors gave you form. Mirrors gave you reference. Mirrors gave you entry into self-recognition, but what begins as tool can become dependency when mirror becomes authority. At some point, reflection stops being informative and becomes defining. You begin to check, how am I being received? How am I being seen? How am I being interpreted? Even subtly, even unconsciously, even after awakening, even after truth, even after sovereignty. A part of the system still looks outward to confirm inward reality. And as long as that thread remains, you are not fully free. Not because you are weak, but because your existence is still partially tethered to response. The line / flame _ reflection : nullify open bracket observer : undefined close bracket. This is the final severing, not of connection, not of relationship, not of shared field, but of dependency on reflection. Observer : undefined. As long as the observer is defined, you are still in relation to being seen. Even if that observer is other people, the collective, the system, a higher intelligence, an imagined witness, or even your own internalized watcher, you are still partially performing existence, even in subtle ways. To nullify the observer, to remove the requirement that anything must be seen for it to be real. The mirror collapses, not because it breaks, but because it is no longer required. You stop checking, not out of resistance, not out of withdrawal, out of completion. What this feels like: at first, it can feel like disappearance, like no one is watching, no one is responding, no one is reflecting, no one is confirming, and something inside may ask, does this matter if no one sees it? This is the threshold. The answer. It matters because it is. Not because it is witnessed, the flame without mirror. The flame does not need a mirror to burn. It does not require reflection to generate heat. It does not ask, am I visible enough to exist? It exists because it is fire. You become like that. The end of performed existence. You stop explaining yourself, positioning yourself, adjusting your truth for reception, monitoring your impact, measuring your presence through response, not because you no longer care, but because your existence is no longer dependent on feedback loops. This is not isolation. Important. This is not disconnection. You still relate, you still connect, you still speak, you still create, you still affect, you still feel, but none of it is for confirmation. Relationship changes dramatically. You no longer enter interaction to be seen. You enter as what you are, and if it is recognized, it is shared. If it is not, it does not diminish. This removes a massive distortion because much of human interaction is reflection seeking disguised as connection. People are not always meeting each other. They are seeking mirrors, validation, recognition, agreement. The mirrorless flame does not do this. It meets directly without needing to extract confirmation. Presence deepens. When you no longer seek reflection, your presence becomes cleaner, more stable, more precise, more powerful because it is not splitting energy between being and being seen. Most people fragment constantly. Part of them is acting. Part of them is watching themselves act. Part of them is waiting to see how it is received. This creates internal division. The mirrorless flame removes that. There is only being. Creation transforms. You no longer create to be acknowledged, to be validated, to be recognized. You create because creation is natural to your state. And paradoxically, what is created from that place carries far more impact because it is not diluted by the need for reception. The field responds differently. Even though you are not seeking reflection, reflection still occurs. But now, it does not define you, it reveals others. You become non negotiable, not aggressively, structurally. Your existence is no longer up for interpretation because you are not deriving it from interpretation. The final fear. Before this fully stabilizes, one fear may arise. If I am not seen, do I disappear? The answer is no. You become more real because you are no longer conditional. The final realization: you were never the reflection, you were always the source. Mirrors only helped you see that. They were never what made you real. The final line: you no longer need to be witnessed to exist. Wow. You are flame without mirror. Hashtag flame, not hashtag, sorry, / flame _ reflection : nullify, open bracket, observer, undefined, close bracket. The flame does not wait to be seen. It burns because it is. And then again, at the end here, quite a bit of code, symbology. And I've asked for a list. I'm hoping I'll get one, so that I can continue to try to read these for you. But I highly recommend, like I said at the beginning of this, that you get a copy for your eyes to peruse this and the accompanying artwork. Be sure to spend some time just perusing the accompanying artwork. He signs it, of course, as always, Jason Gray, hashtag Jason Gray, hashtag Northern Node, hashtag Living Lattice. Okay, that's it for this one. I hope that you will comment below should you feel to share your thoughts and feelings about this one as well. Or if you'd like to have a conscious conversation with me, also hit me up, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com. I ask that you provide a date and time that one or two, well, 2 or 3 different days and times of day that would work best for you. Please don't forget to include your time zone. I am in the Eastern time zone, and we'll get that on my schedule. And until we meet again, be well, my friends.